Welcome one, welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic metal paste is in Toyotas, and playing out in the dunes, and playing in state parks, and all this other cool stuff that we have for you today, then this is absolutely the podcast for you. I am one of your hosts today, and joining me in the studio is the not so lucky host, because he has to put up with me all the time, is Mr. Jimmy Unlucky Jet. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing, not too shabby. Thanks for asking.
Are you able to walk again?
Yeah. I still have pain.
Okay.
In my ankle. Mm-hmm. Do we want to dive into that?
Let's dive into it a little bit.
Okay.
I was just kind of curious because we haven't talked about it yet, but you haven't really been hobbling around here like you were last time. So
yeah. So I had a doctor's appointment yesterday.
Okay.
And it turns out that it's 99% sure that I have gout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll get into that in a little bit, because I think I had no clue what gout was.
Okay.
At all. And then you kind of explained it to a little bit, and I was like, I kind of jokingly, I was like, well, that diet sounds like most of what our listeners probably maybe do as well. Yeah. So I was like, oh, we should probably maybe talk about that then. So I think it'd be a good a thing to get into a little bit here. So
yeah, definitely we can do that. I've learned a lot in the last 72 hours.
I can imagine. From hobbling around to figuring out that it's probably gout. So
yeah.
All right, cool. We'll get into that in a little bit. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. We do have a lot of updates here on this episode. This is a Thursday episode, so happy Thursday to everybody out there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed Hump Day and are moving on down towards the weekend, getting ready for the weekend here. We had a fun weekend, and there's been some really big announcements that have come apart from an off-road trails organization.
Oh yeah. Massive.
And some other really cool things. So fun episode today. Before we do, this is the last day of March. So if you're listening to this and are up to date on all the episodes, you're listening to this on March 31st, you have until the end of today. Well, I guess, no, I mean, you can if you want to. So here's the...
Yeah, right. I was gonna. Yeah. Where are you going with this?
Where am I going with this here? Because I've already told a few people not to sign up, and they're like, "Well, what if I want in on the giveaway for the knife? That's right. A really badass knife." So, if you really, really, really want to get in for the giveaway on the knife, go ahead and sign up on Patreon.
What, can't they sign up on irate?
No, because we're not having that go live until tomorrow, April 1st.
That tier too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Why? Let's open that tier up.
We can, I guess. We'll just, we can. I'm just worried about double charging all the emails we're going to get from people that don't know how to fix it themselves, because I don't have time to help 120 people fix double charges. So
yeah, but if they're signing up, like if they're not signed up for Patreon, let's have them sign up there. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that would work. We can do that. I'm just worried about everybody else that's already signed up on Patreon that's going to go and sign up because the tier is open on irate.
Well, if you're signed up on Patreon, don't switch yet.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I don't... I mean, it's confusing for you guys, I know, and it's slightly confusing for us as well, even though it's very streamlined, the sign-up process.
Yeah.
The deal is April is going to be the month of switching, and so don't worry about switching yet.
Correct. Have patience.
Patience. Wait. We maybe spoke about it a little too early, but we wanted to give you guys a heads up about what was going on. So leave Patreon alone for the current point in time. And then in April, let's just do the whole switch as a group all at once. Yeah. And so if you're a patron now, sign up or stay signed up, stay as you are. It's just easier logistic wise and money risk wise. Yeah. And if you're not signed up, then head over to irate 4x4 and do it.
Yeah, I think that's good. We can do it that way. We've purposefully have not given a whole lot of information about the sign up process because we don't really want current patrons to go over and sign up on irate this close to the end of the month and get double charged on stuff.
Right. Or we don't necessarily want you jumping ship if you're interested in the knife when there's wasn't or might be an option for you to even get in over there.
Yeah.
So I know that that's all confusing. So just stay as you are.
Yep.
Until next month, until April, and then we're going to change it all up.
Yeah, we'll have all month long, 30 days to change it all up and get everything squared away. So hang tight. A couple more days here. Once the charges go through on Patreon, then we'll be sending out an email to everybody, all the patrons, about the process. I have everything. It's a very streamlined process. Austin did a great job with it. But I'll send out a nice little picture email that highlights everything for you guys and the steps to take. So
awesome.
Yeah, hang tight. If you want to get signed up for the knife giveaway, head over to irate 4x4, register on the forum, create a new username account there, and then in the top of the menu on the homepage there is a button that says donate or support. Click on that, go to watch, learn, discuss, or watch, listen, discuss, and then the sign up tiers will be right there. So if you are currently on Patreon, hang tight. Have patience.
Yeah.
Let's see. Some of the stuff though that's been going on irate and that Austin has set up has been really cool. We've already had some people that have started interacting on the public forum.
Oh, cool.
Which has been cool. So we have the details about the listener meetup in April at High Water Brewing.
Yes.
Is up on the public forum.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yep. We have
I might not be able to drink, but oh well.
And then hey, you're the DD then. Yeah. Perfect. And then we'll have, we're going to put you and Jason together. How's that?
Sounds good.
That's ironic that you and Jason, two of the more alcoholic connoisseurs, are limited on your alcohol now.
Yeah, he's not limited.
Yeah, limited by choice, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
He stopped for some medical reasons, and then now I bet he's back pretty. I mean, he's not back on a wagon, but he's back on like a scooter.
He's on or something. He's on a one wheel.
Yeah, one wheel.
Oh man. So anyways, we will have where was I going? You got me sidetracked.
The form is open, and there's information on the form under the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast section.
Yes.
That's open to the public. The April 16th event is on there.
Yep.
Which is at High Water Brewing, and it's from 5 to 9 at night. We'll probably be there a little early. And then let's see, is the private section open for those that are signed up?
It is open for those that have signed up. So anybody who had an annual subscription, they paid for an annual subscription when we opened it up in January and February this year. There's 7 of you out there that did. I sent out an email to you this morning.
Yes.
So all you need to do is create a user account on irate, and then Austin and I will take care of everything else. That's all you have to do.
And if you already have one, just tell us your username.
Exactly. Yep.
And
I guess Austin just cross-referenced the emails that I gave him. So if you do have a user account and used a different email from your Patreon email, let me know.
Got it.
So
I got that email.
Yeah.
I didn't pay for a year subscription.
Yes, you did.
Oh.
You just don't know.
All right. Hold on. I got that button again.
Oh man. So yeah, there's anybody with an annual subscription that has an account on irate should already now have access to the private forum, the fan forum, I guess, the Snail Squad forum. That's what we're calling it.
Got it. Okay.
So, and then as we get everybody switched over from Patreon, you'll be able to go and get signed and have access to that private forum, the Snail Squad forum. But we do have all the treasure hunt tokens are live in the Snail Squad forum, and any ones that are now been released more than 6 months are also live in the public forum.
Nice.
So we've had a couple people mention that they're excited to go out and start looking for those. They didn't realize we did that. So we have those live now in the public forum. Each one of all of our episodes, all 285 after this one, 285 episodes are also on the public forum. And there's been some fun conversations going on from the past 5 to 10 of them. Let's see. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on over there. So go check it out, create an account. And once your account is created, hang out until April, unless you're not currently a patron. Then you can go ahead and sign up right now. So, but we will be opening the gift box tier in April.
Yes.
So if you want to get into the gift box tier starting in April, then don't do anything today. So
yeah, I guess that it's hard to sort of bump up.
Yeah, in order to bump up tiers on iRate, you have to cancel your old subscription. So say you want to go from the giveaway tier to the gift box tier, you have to cancel your giveaway tier subscription and sign up for the gift box tier subscription. Otherwise, you get charged for both when they're already kind of included in both. So that's the kind of the one hiccup, the drawback to going this route. But we'll help people out with it during April and October when we get there each year. So we are also keeping track of everybody's birthdays.
Yes.
So that spreadsheet is created, and we'll be keeping track of that, and we'll be announcing all the March newbies, the March FNGs, and the March birthdays next week in April. So.
Okay. March birthdays or April birthdays?
I thought we did them all at this, like the FNGs and the birthdays at the same time.
We do, but I thought we did the new people that subscribed last month, but the people that are birthdays for the current month.
Okay, we'll be doing that then.
We're totally in sync.
We've done this a lot, guys.
Yeah.
I promise.
If your birthday hasn't been mentioned,
yeah, right.
Let us know.
Yeah. Oh man, we'll also get to some more reviews next week. We haven't done reviews in a while, so we'll get to that. The giveaway this month is that K-Bar knife. I've had 2 people now reach out and say that if they don't win the knife, they're going to be calling up Derek and buying one.
I contacted Derek, and I'm working with him to get myself a knife as well.
Nice.
Not this same one, but something a little bit smaller, I guess.
Okay.
It's just it's actually the same thing. It looks very similar, except it has a different. It's not as tall.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it has a different heel to it.
Okay.
But nice. It looks very similar otherwise.
Gotcha. Yeah. Definitely go check out Derek over at We Be Knives.
Yep. And once I get that in, Ryan, I'm going to be contacting you.
Right.
And get a cool sheath for it.
Mm-hmm. Did I tell you that Ryan came over to the warehouse and we played around with the laser and Kydex?
No, but Sean did.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
The magnificent maestro.
Yes. Yes. Morphlade Sean. Yeah, he came over and we were playing with the Kydex and just seeing how easily or difficult it was to laser engrave or etch into Kydex.
Yeah.
And turns out it's extremely easy.
I'm sure it is.
And it cuts right through even at like 2% power.
Yeah. It's just a plastic. I mean, I can imagine that's super low.
Yeah. So there's no real etching it. It just kind of cuts a design into the Kydex.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is still kind of cool, right? You get this neat little design into, sheaths and whatnot that Ryan can make out of Kydex.
What speed were you running?
100.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
100% speed 100% and 2% power?
Yeah.
And it cut through it?
Burned right through.
Dang.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, the Kydex is pretty cool. We're playing around with those. And then we did a couple of other designs that I had already made up, vectorized in Illustrator, just playing around with the laser for a while. And then, so that might be on the table for the winner if they want some sort of design cut into that sheath or not.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that might be fine. In this area would be good, but
you have to find a way to level it.
Yeah, you have to find a way to get it level, or at least as level as possible. It would be, I don't know how much it morphs when he heats it up, but it might be to some advantage to cut it in prior so that it's flat.
Yeah.
And then he bends it over and puts it into the spot that it needs to be.
Molds it to the item. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question.
And that all depends on where they want the design and how big it is and how that all works out. But yeah. I was thinking about for the laser on my end was to buy these little magnets, like these little 1 inch tall, 3 to 4 inch long magnets and then etching on them and putting like pliers and screwdrivers or 1/4 inch sockets, 1/2 inch sockets, 3/8 inch sockets, and then putting them on my toolbox so that people can figure out where things are.
That'd be cool
when they come over.
Yeah.
And so I was going to etch them onto the magnet, and then I could just slap the magnets onto the toolboxes.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a really good idea because I hate trying to find tools in your shop right now.
Yeah. I know where everything almost is. So. Almost. Every once in a while, I'm like, I know it's over here. I don't know exactly what drawer it is.
Yeah. So cool. I think that about does it for updates. Check out the giveaway this month. All the movement stuff is happening during April, so don't freak out. We're purposefully not giving all the information because we don't want people to have to worry about getting double charged. From the time this episode airs, you have one more day to wait. I think you guys can be patient. Let's see what else is on the to-do list over there for the secretary. The secretary wrote down a bunch of stuff. I guess that's not true. We actually have a secretary, so I can't make that one up.
B. Murphy.
Yeah. The super producer, Brian. What did he write down?
Do we want to go? So we covered.
Come on, Brian. Jesus. Get on your shit, man.
Shall we go here?
That looks like it says goat.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is? Oh, gout. Got it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, let's go there. I think that's a really interesting thing. I knew nothing about gout, and you were telling me a little bit about it. I'm like, interesting. Okay, so what is? Let's actually figure out why you came to this conclusion first. What's going on here?
So what happened? I woke up in the middle of the night with throbbing pain in my ankle.
Yeah.
Right. And I had a really bad night's sleep that night. And then I figured that I screwed myself up somehow sleeping. Right. Well,
you kicked the assistant really hard.
Yeah. Or, there was a weighted blanket on the end and it just bent my ankle in a funny direction or something. So the night after, I slept with my leg out of out from under the sheets, right? Like there's no way I'm going to screw up my ankle when it's like floating in air, and I woke up the next day in worse pain.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, I definitely didn't just screw this up,
accidentally
on accident, sleeping one night. And I didn't kick anything, and I know my ankle wasn't broken, and so I called the advice nurse, and they were kind of like,
what's her name?
Shaniqua.
Shaniqua?
Sure.
She sounds fun.
Yeah. And so they're like, okay, let's do blood work and let's get x-rays. And I was like, I don't need x-rays.
X-rays?
Yeah. I was like, okay. And so I was like, why do I need x-rays? And then so they were kind of like, well, it sounds like you might have gout. And I had this similar thing happen to me in 2017. And they said, we think you might have gout. And I was like, okay. And so I went and got blood work in 2017 also. But so I inquired into why x-rays. Yeah. And they said, well, if you might have a big fluid pocket in your ankle that's causing like a
some cyst,
I don't know if they said a fluid pocket.
Okay.
And they said that shows up in an x-ray.
Okay.
And I said, okay, that makes sense. I'll go get x-rays because I know my ankle's not broken.
Yeah.
And so I went and got x-rays and I went and got the blood work done. And really just to make it somewhat simple, it's like what they're looking at in the blood is uric acid. How high is the uric acid level in the blood? Okay. And it ranges somewhere from like 3 to 8 parts per million or whatever
their measurement is. Yeah. Okay.
And I was at like 6.7.
Okay.
So I was still in the average.
Okay. The average,
but I was on the
range.
Higher side of the average. Right. And so, and my x-rays came back like there's no fractures. I'm like, no shit. Yeah. And so they didn't mention anything in regards to that. So, and in 2017, I went and got blood work done and I was at like 5.3. And so it doesn't really root out that I have it, but both of the times that I got tested, I have yet to get tested, like air quotes, normal when I'm not in pain.
Gotcha.
And so I have to go back and I have to get tested again.
Okay.
in a few weeks to just check things out again. But
so what does uric acid do? Did you ever look into that, figure that out?
So what uric acid does is if you have too much uric acid, which more or less means that your kidneys can't filter that, as you're creating more uric acid than your kidneys can filter.
Gotcha. Okay.
And what it does is it builds up in joints. And when it builds up in joints, it creates
a fluid pocket.
Crystals.
Oh, ow.
Yes.
Ow.
It creates a bunch of crystals in your joints.
God, okay.
And so whenever you step down and you compress your joint, the crystals are jamming into each other and jamming against everything that however you're moving it. Because I do remember one of the first times I stepped down and I like moved my ankle, it popped and it grinded. And I was like, yeah, that's not good.
That's not good.
And I'm like, what the fuck happened to me?
It's like a ball bearing. It's not supposed to grind when you're turning out.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
So uric acid creates crystals, and crystals just are there until you either flush your body out of all the uric acid. And there's a few, like just drinking water. Actually, tart cherry juice is supposedly really good. So I've been drinking like a cup of tart cherry juice every day.
Could you have a cherry sour beers?
I don't know. So things that are really high in purines, which creates uric acid.
Purines?
Purines.
Okay.
I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but it starts with a P.
Okay.
And it ends with an earline or something. But
that's why we're off-road people, you guys.
Yeah, exactly. So the beer, extremely high. And yeasty things are really high in purines.
I was going to ask about liquor or wine or other
Wine
alcohols.
is next highest, and then liquor is lower. The clearer the liquid, the better it is.
Oh.
So I'm probably going to be on a vodka diet for a while.
Are you going to be on a
water,
White Claw?
Whatever.
A White Claw diet?
No. So sugars.
You're not going to join me in the White Claw
Sugars
diet?
are really high.
Come on.
On it. And then red meats are really high in purines. And like white meats are lower. And actually they say shellfish and fish are actually pretty decently high. So we were going to go out to sushi one night when we did some research and we're like, well, let's hold off on that.
Yeah.
Until my flare goes away. Also, another thing that was going on is my ankle it swelled up and it was visibly red, and it was super hot.
If you have fucking crystals grinding your joint away, jeez.
And so, and that was, so when I took photos and I showed the doctor and that was like the visual evidence of what's going on because it wasn't just swollen, it was like red. Yeah. And so, there was all these things that sort of led up to me having gout. So I'm pretty sure that I have it. The doctor was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're 99% sure you have it. What was kind of interesting is her father has it. So she knew it.
That was
it wasn't
nice.
One of the
nice coincidence.
Yeah. And it was a random doctor because I was trying to find a doctor to go to while I was having pain and in having a swollen ankle, but I have Kaiser and Kaiser was like, yeah, the next available appointment would be Wednesday, and I'm like,
it might be gone by then.
It's going to be gone by then. I mean, it says it could last up to 1 to 2 weeks. And, here we are 1 week later and it's almost gone. Yeah. Right. We're recording on a Tuesday. I went to the doctor on Monday. And, and so I went and talked to the doctor and, I'm like, almost all my swelling's gone. It's not red anymore. I can walk. I'm getting better. I was taking anti-inflammatories because it was swollen. And, she's like, yeah, you did everything right. And then, it's like, there are 2 medicines that can help with it. For one is like a daily dose. Like you just take this and it helps your body reduce the amount of uric acid. Okay. And the other one is when you have a flare up, you take this one and it'll help pull all that out.
It's essentially like an enzyme then, right?
Kind of, yeah. Okay. And so I was like, well, can I get that one? She's like, well, it looks like you have a flare up every 5-10 years, or something, 2017 to whenever, 2020, whatever, whatever year we're in now. And, she's like, I'll just put a note in here that you potentially have gout. And then when we follow up with after, in a few weeks, getting more blood work done, you can just call in or write a note to your doctor and they can prescribe it.
And it'll be in your medical records.
It'll be in your medical records and they can just prescribe it instead of you holding on to this possibly on the shelf and losing it or, figuring it out. I'm like, okay, fine.
Isn't technology great?
Yeah, to some extent. Otherwise I drank water, but I sort of drank water when I was thirsty.
Yeah.
But I really now need to, in a way I could see it as I need to help my kidneys. So I've got to drink more water than I'm ever used to doing before. Yeah. And so drinking, and it was funny. The nurse or the doctor had a really funny thing. She's like, how much water do you drink? And I'm like, I drink maybe 2 to 3 cups a day. I drink a little bit when I'm thirsty. And she's like, yeah, it's amazing how much water cures people.
It is.
That's a good point. I don't think anybody drinks as much water as they're supposed to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been learning a lot about gout and about the foods that I'm not really supposed to be eating and the beverages I'm not supposed to be having. To some extent, it seems like it's because I don't really remember what happened in 2017 and why I went. But I do remember I had a flare up and I didn't know what it was. I just had a flare up in 2019 after I went to a birthday party. Okay. And I had a flare up in my my big toe on my right side, right foot. And I had a flare up here this last week. And it's somewhat after we went on the Patreon party and I overdid myself. So I think I could live a life semi-normal. I just can't binge drink.
And if you do, you just need to have some of those pills on hand.
Yeah. And or just drink a ton of water before and a ton of water after. I mean, I think a lot of this is going to be an experiment on my life. Yeah. I think exercise, I need to start exercising a little bit more and, helping my body be a little bit more fit than I have been in the past. And I need to drink more water and I need to just pay more attention to what I'm putting in myself. For the assistant is vegetarian. For those that didn't know that. So I don't eat a lot of meat. Yeah. My day-to-day life is extremely low on meat. I maybe eat meat when I come here and we eat out, you know, a lot of times at my house, I'll maybe have some sort of, microwavable chicken pasta meal or something for lunch, or a peanut butter, which peanut butter is honey low in purines. Okay. Cha-ching. Yeah, so I can eat all the peanut butter I want. Now bread, I don't know where it falls because it's yeasty. So I don't know. But I think it's in my normal life, I haven't had a problem. Yeah. For 2 years, I don't have a problem. And then I go out binge drinking one day and I have a problem. So I think it just really comes down to, I need to clean up my life a little bit more. To some extent, and I need to not binge drink.
Yeah, it's a couple of things, I guess. One, getting old sucks, huh?
Getting old sucks.
Oh, man. I'm just teasing. No, it's our bodies are freaking amazing machines. For the most part, our bodies have everything we need to filter out toxins and poisons within a certain amount, right? Yeah. So technically alcohol is a poison, but our kidneys filter that poison out and, turns it into sugars. And so, our kidneys are amazing things that as long as we just keep the body flushed and allow the system to keep up with whatever our intake is, things work out really well. The one thing that just can't really flush anything out really is your lungs. That's what you have phlegm and mucus for, is to try and catch carcinogens or whatnot and hairs, your cilas, whatever they are.
Oh yeah, the hairs in your nostrils and everything. Yeah, blocks a lot of stuff.
They catch everything before it gets into your lungs. That's why smoking is so freaking bad for you, because it just, once it's there, you can't get rid of it.
Yeah. I mean, I had a face full of fire over that weekend too.
That's true. We all did. Yeah. So interesting. I thought that was really fascinating going into it, because I would imagine, if I had to guess, a good portion of our listeners drink alcohol, eat red meats, and what was the third thing?
Sugary.
And sugary. Yeah, sugar. Yeah, consume sugar. So I thought that was a good thing to kind of talk about and go over. Yeah. So if anybody else is experiencing feeling like there's crystals in your joints.
Yeah. Right.
You might be able to get some information about that.
Yeah. If you guys have gout, reach out. I mean, I'm curious how you guys deal with it. And if you have any other questions, reach out, because I'd be more than happy to talk about it. It's an interesting new chapter in my life. Yeah. And, I'm learning a lot. I actually have a really good friend that has gout. So I already knew a little bit about it.
Okay.
So I reached out to him, and we had like an hour-long conversation of how he's dealing with life and what he does. And he has it bad. And he has it like, he's on the medicine, daily medicine.
Wow.
And he can have 2 beers a week.
Jeez.
And he doesn't have a flare-up. And if he eats red meat, he has to remove one of the beers.
Wow.
So he can have like 2 items of red meat, or 2 beers, or 1 beer and 1 red meat, and that's really it.
Wow.
And since doing that, he hasn't had a flare up in 7 years.
Wow.
But yeah, so
that's impressive.
So he's doing really good on it. I've been picking his brain and learning a lot. He said he walks everywhere with a water bottle now.
Yeah, makes sense.
He's just drinking water as much as he can. And now he's trained. He said, I've trained my body that it's like, I'm used to like a gallon of water in my, coming into my body. Another thing that's kind of interesting, I don't want to dive too deep into the toilet, but my urine was like neon yellow after that trip.
Oh yeah.
And it took almost a week.
Yep.
And
mine was too, for like 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
3 to 4 days and before it cleared up.
I started drinking water like hard a few days after that. And it took like 4 days for me to start changing the color to a clear state.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good indicator. If you ever get into outdoor survival or just, I guess, everyday life, it applies here. If your urine is really yellow, or like getting into a dark yellow or
orange.
Neon yellow or orange or brown, I mean, it means you're severely dehydrated. You should have a nice clear urine.
Yeah. Another thing that the doctor said is because I said, I drink when I'm thirsty. And she said, when you're thirsty, you're dehydrated.
Yeah.
You're already beyond the point of thirst.
Yeah.
Right. Your body's going like, I'm in danger and I need water.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's a need, not a want at that point.
Yeah.
Right. And so she said, you should never become thirsty.
Yeah.
Like, that's a period. And she's pointing at me like, I need water now more than ever, It's like, you should never become thirsty. I'm like, okay.
I'm a little thirsty right now.
Yeah. Like, I didn't bring my water bottle up here with me. But and so I think that, to me, one of the major takeaways was I think water needs to be consumed more across the board for everybody, and so it was just really interesting.
Yeah, I used to struggle really bad with migraines because I would go and play a lot of tennis during the summer times, or during whitewater rafting. You're not really drinking a ton of water because you're always wet in the river. You just don't really think about it. You don't notice it, right? And so I struggled for a very long time. It was a good 10 to 15 years of constantly being dehydrated, and I would get really bad migraines. So now this is why I carry my water cup around with me everywhere. Because I really have to make a concentrated effort to drink water. Yeah. And that's how I've learned to stop my migraines. And if I get a migraine coming up, I know that I'm dehydrated and I need to down a ton of water and lay down for a while.
I didn't really have migraines, but the color of my urine, I remember when I was an avid competitive swimmer. Yeah. It was like, you don't even notice yourself sweating. No, right? Because you're in water, so it's like, we're working out. We're working out for like a solid hour, burning thousands of calories. And we're not sweating. How does that work? And so it wasn't until I was probably a teenager that I realized I was like, oh, I need to drink. I need a water bottle on the deck. To drink out of. But so that's
something to think about for people. And we may cover this a little bit more in depth on our other podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
I'll have to do an episode there.
And I do want to give a special shout out to Jason and Chris for thanks for making fun of me on your guys' podcast about getting old.
It's okay. We make fun of them all the time for being old. So
true. I'm just feeling it now for sure, especially this last week. Once I can fully move around, I actually jogged a little bit today. Okay. Which there was no way I was going to be able to do that in the last few days. No. So I was doing a crosswalk on the way to school to walk the mini assistants to school, and a car on the way home without her, and a car was coming, and I jogged the rest of the way out of the crosswalk so that they didn't really have to be delayed. Okay. And I was like, there's no way I was going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I was on crutches in the mornings.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about you going out to the NorCal rock races.
Yeah, exactly. So
because both of us were trying to make it out to the not rock races either Friday or Saturday or both or one or whatever it was. And like you were like, I can't walk.
I'm not going out there.
I was like, what the hell did you do to your ankle?
Yeah.
But you couldn't walk. I was joking around about getting a wheelchair and having Jason push you around all day or either of the Jasons.
I was thinking about getting a one wheel because I could bear weight on my foot. Mm-hmm. But I was like, man, if I have to jump off for any reason, I'm going to fall. I'm just going to fall on the ground.
Your face.
Yeah. Or I was literally on, like in the mornings, it was so bad. It would loosen up. Like I'd break the crystals off throughout the day and I could like walk a little bit at night, but, in the morning after sleeping in my ankle in like one position for the most part, it hurt so bad in the mornings. I was literally on crutches. or I was hopping on one foot around the house. It was,
Wow.
It hurts.
Wow.
It's a variation of arthritis. It's in
okay. That kind of makes sense. I mean, arthritis is essentially the breakdown of the cartilage in between your bones and your joints, and so you have bone on bone actions. I can feel it. I can imagine it would feel the same as crystals grinding on your bones.
Yeah.
So, geez.
Yeah. So what did I learn? No more sugar or alcohol.
No more sugary alcohol?
Or at least no more bottles of sugar.
There we go. That's a good rule for everybody out there.
But yeah, I mean, that weekend I started with like Coors Lights when we first got there. Then I moved to like some IPAs and hazy IPAs. And then I went to whiskey, and then we went to sugar whiskeys.
We finished on the sugar whiskeys.
And I don't know if this,
so by the time you got to the IPAs, your kidneys were already like, okay, we're good. And then you started adding more shit in there. Your kidneys were like, all right, fuck you, I'm done.
I think if I just would have stayed with the regular whiskey, I think I would have been okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's also, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Right. So, because I'm used to whiskey. Yeah. I'm not used to that sugar stuff.
Yeah. That's too bad. We had a listener send us a drink that I was going to say we were going to have to try, but we have to hold off a little bit then.
Yeah. A few more weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I am splurging. I am having a Sprite.
Yes. Sprite's a clear liquid.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. I do want to spend a nice chunk of time on CORVA.
Yes.
Because they just did some really awesome stuff. So did Friends of Oceana Dunes.
But before we get there, why don't you talk about the Morphlate compressors?
Yeah, because that was why I couldn't go out to the rock races.
Okay.
Friday morning. So we were expecting the final production compressors, which I've been working on, a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Something like that. So we did the first kind of pre-production batch, right? Where I got in 100 units because the factory was like, no, we're not going to make them the way you want them unless you order 500 units. And I was like, well, I don't want to order 500 units unless I know you can make a good compressor, like the good internals.
Sure.
And so I got just their basic white labeled compressor to test out the internals, sold them at a good price for everybody. So we could start getting feedback and some feedback about how these compressors work. And what we found out is what my intuition was telling me was true. These compressors put out way too much air to run one tire at a time. And if you run one tire at a time, the compressors blow up. So we've been finding that out. And so we move forward with the production and kind of re-engineering a bunch of stuff on the compressor.
Yeah.
And
really
so
cool.
There are currently 4 companies that make a version of this compressor. 3 of them are all the exact same compressor, which is that initial pre-production one that I tested and ordered. And I was like, there's going to be some issues with this, I'm pretty sure. And we found out what they were. So that's that compressor. Our new compressor, the final production, we changed up quite a few things. So the first biggest thing we did was the pressure cutoff switch. And that is dual purpose. The old compressor didn't have a safety function to deal with back pressure from airing up one tire at a time. So if you run one tire at a time, only about 2 CFM of airflow on average can go into a regular Schrader valve on a tire, right? A tire valve stem. These compressors push out 10.6 CFM. So you're pushing 5 times the amount of air. that one tire can accept. So you're going to have a massive backlog of pressure constantly pushing on the compressor. And there's no safety release valve, no pressure relief valve. There's no pressure cutoff switches. There's no check valves in them to keep the pressure from going back. And so all that pressure just builds up between the cylinders of the compressor and your tire valve stem, which then makes everything run hotter, and it'll blow pistons. It'll blow the cylinder. It'll blow gaskets and rings in the cylinder. So, there's a lot of people that say, hey, I was trying to air up one tire at a time, and I got through one vehicle and maybe one or two more tires, and this compressor started smoking. I was like, yeah, that's what I was trying to, that's what I've been preaching about this whole time. So, the pressure cutoff switch alleviates that from happening now.
Okay.
So essentially, if you try and air up one tire at a time, the compressor will just cycle itself on and off as the pressure between the cylinders and your valve stem decreases below 120 psi.
Ah, that's cool.
So,
okay.
The compressor will turn itself off at 120 psi. It's rated for 150 psi. So you should never have any issues. It's kind of built a safety tolerance in there. And the compressor turns on at 80 psi or lower. So a lot of people out there don't realize that ARB lockers, they like to run at 80 to 100 psi. If you constantly run your ARB lockers at 150 psi, you will blow the seals in them. And so, which always kind of confuses me because ARB sets their compressors to be 150 psi cutoff.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand the disconnect there from running their compressors and their lockers. They haven't built that into it. But anyways, so our compressor, the Morphlate 10.6, is set up with pressure cutoff switch designed for air lockers. So there's that. That makes the compressor operate without blowing itself up on single tires at a time, and also allows it to be put in and installed as an onboard air setup to run lockers if you want to.
Oh, nice.
Or be plumbed into a tank just fine. And all you have to do is cut off the alligator clips, put an inline fuse on it, and put ring terminals and hook it onto your battery.
Sweet.
So that's the pressure cutoff switch is the big function change that I really wanted to get on the first one, and they wouldn't let me. So that's the big one. The second one is we redid the filter caps. So the old ones are kind of like press fit into the tops of the cylinders and kind of held in by like glue because they weren't pressed in very well. And I was like, that's not going to work. We need to have something else that'll hold these in there. So now the filter caps are threaded into the cylinders.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Into the tops of cylinders. So now you can mount the compressor in any direction, any orientation. So again, for onboard air solutions, you can mount them sideways, upside down, right side up, whatever orientation you want to. So we did that. We doubled the length of the hose that comes off the compressor to help with a little bit more heat dissipation. We took and got rid of that really annoying non-standard W Coe fitting that is standard in Asian and Australian markets, but like nothing uses that fitting in the United States.
Yeah, that thing sucks.
It allows a lot of airflow, but it's like we're already limited by tire valve stems. There's no point in running that when our normal standard fittings in the United States that we use on everything is already rated for like 22 CFM.
Oh, yeah.
So I think those W Coe fittings can push something like 70 to 80 CFM, something like that.
Dang.
Which is great. It's a lot of airflow, but it's, once you hook up 4 tires together, your max airflow of like your capacity is like 11 CFM. So there's no point in having that big of a fitting when nothing uses it in our country. So we got rid of that fitting and put a 1/4 inch universal coupler on there that's color matched with the Morphlate color scheme, the black and greens. So universals are nice because you can use industrial or auto fittings with them. Doesn't matter. And they're push to connect. So you don't have to like struggle and pull the collar back while you're trying to push the fitting in. You just push the fitting in and it all connects in. And then you pull the collar back and it pops it all out. So those are the big changes. And then the bag is super nice. I'm really happy with the bag, the way the bag came out. The old carrying bag was very thin material. And it wore through quickly. And so the new bag is way more durable. It's like 4 times the thickness material. And there's accessory pockets on the bag too. So
for a Morphlate?
Not for that big of accessory pockets. But you can put like gauges, gloves, other little knickknacks in there, I guess, whatever it is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stored gloves in the big pocket with the compressor usually, but that'll be nice if I could separate it that way. Yeah, definitely.
Yep. And then the other thing we got in that we have also kind of been keeping quiet is we got our new gloves in.
Oh,
so my favorite gloves to work with and work in are, essentially gardening gloves with like the vinyl dipped hands, plastic dipped hands, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And so I found a factory that specializes in those, and they actually had a really I don't want to say coarse. What would the right word be?
Abrasive.
Abrasive grip.
Yeah.
It's almost like treads.
A grippy grip.
A grippy grip, yeah. I should have called them the grippy gloves. But I called them the groovy gloves, the Morphlate groovy glove. Groovy gloves. Because
straight out of the 70s.
Exactly, right. I just thought it was funny. I think it would be clever. But anyways, so every compressor is going to come with a pair of groovy gloves as well to help with hot fittings when you're done airing up. So
are you taking... When they buy a compressor, does it have an option for glove size?
Yep.
Nice. Okay.
And the sizes are extra large, large, and medium.
Mediums?
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah.
So there's the mediums are small?
Yeah. All the sizes
or the smalls are medium.
They're yeah. I ordered extra large, large, and mediums, and their sizings are all a tiny bit on the small size, in my opinion. And so the mediums are like a really small medium, so they're getting listed as schmediums now. So anyways, those gloves came out great. I'm really happy with how they did.
I've seen them. I've had my hands in them. Yeah, and they feel really good.
Yeah.
They're a good fit. They're a good fit on my hands, and the grip is really nice.
It is really nice. So we'll be interested to see how those go into the future, and if we want to start selling them on their own or marketing them on their own. I don't know. So
you have enough gloves to sell them on their own.
We did get, I think, 4,000 pairs, something like that. So anyways, no, it was 4,000 gloves, so 2,000 pairs. But anyways.
Oh.
So yeah, the first batch of 100 compressors is all spoken for. I'm giving everybody that was on the wait list until April 10th to place their orders. And we sent out an order form that is not publicly viewable. It's not anywhere. It's essentially part of the dark web because there's no...
it's a hidden page.
It's a hidden page, essentially. Yeah. And the only link to it is in the email that I sent out to everybody. So if you end up not adding it to your cart, navigating away from that page, you can't get back to the page unless you go back to the email. So that's out there. People have until April 10th to get their orders in. After April 10th, we'll open it up to the backup wait list. And if we still don't sell them all then we'll open up to the general public. But the next batch of 300 compressors is coming and due in early June. So if you want on the wait list for that, send an email in to tyler@morphlate.com or questions@morphlate.com, and we'll get you added to the wait list for that. So that's why I couldn't go to the rock races, because I was trying to set up the order forms and get the compressors offloaded. Yeah, it became a lot happening all in a short amount of time, Friday and Saturday. So
yeah, you had work to do, and I couldn't walk.
Yeah, right. You could have come over and drove in the forklift for me.
Yeah, that could have been fun. Yeah. Since I wasn't really walking around, I went back to my house and I played with my new laser a little bit, and I built a jig for the panels. And so now I can quickly slide the panel into the laser, and everything's already set up and organized. So then I just hit play and it runs
push play,
the icon, the snail armor icon, and the text in those corners. Nice. So
So it helps streamline the production of the lasering a ton.
A vast amount. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have it all set up. I actually sent the file from the computer to the laser, so it's stored in the laser.
Oh, nice.
And so I don't need to deal with the computer at all.
Gotcha.
On the side. I just walk over and select the file and hit play, and it's already set up exactly there. So
nice.
That works well for me because I only have one computer for my office / laser. And so there's been times when I need to like print out order forms.
But
and
I can't because
it's lasering and I can't separate them while it's working.
Yeah.
So I'm going to probably have to pick up another computer, laptop or desktop. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. And then I can separate some of those things that for the day job, you know, but yeah, it's all learning experience.
There's some great deals on, what is it? Amazon Warehouse, I think it's called.
Oh, really?
It's essentially the part of Amazon where like all the returns come into, and they check the returns and make sure that they're good in operating condition, then put them back up for sale at like a discounted price. So
cool.
There's a lot of really good deals on computers and laptops on there.
Oh,
it's like Amazon Refurbished or Amazon Warehouse, something like that. But yeah, we got another laptop for Morphlate Sean. So he can handle shipping and production a little bit easier, more efficiently. And so, yeah, some really good deals on Amazon Warehouse / refurb, whatever it's called.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. Thanks.
Yeah. So that's exciting to hear that you got a jig set up. It sounded like a really fun project. You were kind of showing me the plans or details of it. And I was like, oh, that would be kind of fun to play around with and figure out. So
yeah, it was a good mental exercise to figure out the best way. You know, it's like, oh, I figured it out. And then I was like, but what if, you know, and the big what if was like, okay, I made it so it can do the 2nd gen and 3rd gen Tacomas, but what if it could also do the Tundras?
Yeah.
And so then I had to redesign it in my head and figure out a way to make things work. And the Tacoma ones held on 3 sides, where one of the sides is removable so that I can then fit the Tundra panels in. So it's kind of a fun little design. I'll have to shoot a little reel or of some photos of it and share it online.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, definitely. I think it'd be fun to kind of show people what you did. I just think it's neat. For me personally, I don't know about other people. Me personally, I'm fascinated by how people solve problems for efficiency standards, right? So like essentially that's what businesses do. If you're not solving a problem efficiently, then you shouldn't be in business, in my opinion. But yeah, I love seeing ideas and how people solve problems of efficiency issues. So
yeah, and I like to it's easy to solve a problem, but how can I do it efficiently?
Yes, exactly.
You know, how can I put the least amount of things on here to still make it work well?
Yes.
And so that's what was fun.
Yeah.
It's like I could easily, cut something and make it fit. But I was like, but what if I did it this other way? Or what if I only used a few pieces?
Nice. So cool. Let's talk a little bit. We're going to shift gears a little bit here, shall we?
Yeah.
Because this is something that came up that I think everybody, if you do any sort of vehicular recreation, you need to know about this. I don't care if you're in California or not. This is a big deal. So CORVA did something really, really, really cool.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
And I don't know how they did it.
I don't know either. And they don't know how they did it either, which is fascinating. Yeah. Because really, and I'm going to put this out there, for all of our off-road buddies out there, everybody in the off-road industry in California, if you're an off-roader, I know how much everybody dislikes our governor. There's some things that our governor has done that I haven't been very proud of. But there's been some things that he's done that I'm like, okay, that's a decent idea. I like how that was enacted. And for him to go ahead and do what he did is massive for us. And everybody in the off-road organization needs to send in a thank you letter.
Yeah.
Every off-road organization, everyone off-roading in California needs to send in a thank you letter to him. So what happened was this all started with the Carnegie Tesla property, right?
Okay.
So there was a big property, chunk of property out near Carnegie SVRA that I think Tesla owned, or Tesla was slating to build their big old factories off of before they moved everything up to Nevada. So this property, Carnegie was trying to purchase the property to expand the Carnegie SVRA, which is a state vehicular recreational area. It's a part of a section of a California state park that is set up and aside for specifically vehicular recreation. So OHV usage, dirt bikes, quads, side-by-sides, Jeeps, Toyotas, Nissans, just no Dodges, whatever we do, okay?
Yes.
And so there's 271 state parks in the state of California that the public gets to go in and use for various reasons.
Okay.
And each one of those state parks, what that reason is built into the property management plan, the land management plan of that particular state park.
Got it. How many of those state parks are SVRA?
It's either 8 or 9. I forget which one it is.
Less than 10.
And less than 10, yes.
Okay.
So less than 5.
So out of 271, 10, less than 10 of them, 10 and less are strictly dedicated for off-road use.
Not necessarily strictly dedicated, but they have areas for off-road use. Like Hollister Hills SVRA, that's strictly pretty much dedicated for off-road. There's camping too. But, there's different uses. You can go hiking around there.
Yeah.
But there
might even be strictly a hiking area for Hollister.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know what's on. There's a right as you're driving in on the left side. Mm-hmm. There's a parking lot and a hiking area over there.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if that's part of Hollister Hills, but it is a hiking area.
It wouldn't surprise me. A lot of the parks are set up for multi-use recreation, right?
Right.
And so there's 262 parks that are set up for all sorts of different uses except vehicular recreation. They specifically and explicitly, I believe, prohibit the use of vehicular recreation. So when the Carnegie deal for the expanding the Carnegie SVRA into the Tesla property finally was like the final nail in the coffin was put to a kibosh. It was done. There's no chance we're getting that for Carnegie SVRA. The governor's office reached out to CORVA and a couple of other lobbying organizations and said, hey, we don't like the way this went down. The environmental groups kind of got in there and used, I forget what reason they used to finally put the nail in the coffin about the Carnegie SVRA property.
Particulates, probably. It's probably some moth.
Yeah, right. And so the governor's office, Governor Newsom, who a lot of people are staunchly against, came to CORVA and said, hey, look, we don't like the way this went down. We think you guys got fucked over on it. We definitely recognize that the explosion of vehicular recreation that's happened in the past couple of years, you guys need more places to play with your vehicles. It's not sustainable right now.
Right.
Is essentially what it came down to. And so there was legal fees and some other stuff that the OHV program in California, the state OHV program had paid for trying to get that Tesla property for Carnegie. So it was something like, I want to say $9 million, something like that came out of the OHV program. The governor's office didn't just give back the $9 million, but all in all, the governor's office put money back into the OHV program in the amount of about $28 million.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we got like triple the amount of money back for whatever reason. I don't remember how they reasoned it. Okay. But we got a boatload of money back into the OHV program.
I want some.
Right? I was like, let's get some of that to go back towards our registration fees. We'll get into that in a little bit. So the OHV program got a nice little push from the governor's office. And then also the governor's office was like, you guys need more places to play. It's not sustainable, right? That was the other part of it. And so when they went and passed the budget proposal, which was SB 155, look it up. There's a bunch of different things. It's one of those things that, they pass and it has a bunch of different things built into it, right?
Sure.
And so they just pass everything all in one fell swoop. in this SB 155, it was written that every single California state park, all 271 of them, Jimmy, are now getting vehicular recreation added to their land management plans.
Wait, so we can go driving at go off-roading in every single state park now?
Not quite. So what that means is that every single California state park now has the potential to have an SVRA set up within the park.
Oh.
So you know how Hollister Hills has like a hiking area and a camping area and a vehicular recreation, the SVRA part of it. It means now every single park has the potential, if somebody wanted to fight it and say that there's good reason to put an SVRA in any of the parks, they can do it now.
That's interesting.
Whereas before, you were not allowed to touch any of the parks with the thought of having an SVRA in them.
Wow.
Yeah. Huge.
Can you imagine some wheeling lines in Yosemite?
Right.
Actually, that might be a national park.
Yeah. So anyways, CORVA then took that information from the governor's office after that law passed. And there's still language that has to be cleaned up in the land property management plans. Land management plans. I forget what the correct term for that is. Language has to be cleaned up to make sure that there's no competing language about vehicular recreation now. But CORVA has gone through and they started identifying parks, California state parks, that would be good to have an SVRA at.
Oh.
And so what they're doing is they're looking at parks that have essentially a lot of wide open space, wilderness space that's not already being utilized. So essentially parks that, if there's a park that has, 50 to 70% of the space being already utilized for horseback riding or mountain bike riding or hiking or camping, whatever it is, they're staying away from those. They're also staying away from coastal parks, state parks. And so by going through and doing that and kind of looking for what are parks that have just a shit ton of acreage right now that's not being utilized, they've come up with 81 or 82 parks.
Oh, really?
That are prime candidates to have SVRAs installed and opened up throughout California.
Dang. That
81
awesome.
to 82. Can you believe that? In one fell swoop, pretty much.
So there's a potential of having 82 off-road parks happening in California.
Yep, opening up.
Made and designed, that are governed by or looked over by the state.
Yep.
Similar to Hollister Hills, similar to Prairie City.
Yep.
Wow.
Hollister Hills, Prairie City. I don't know if Glamis isn't a state park.
I was going to say like Ocotillo Wells, Glamis, one of those has got to be something.
I think Ocotillo Wells is the one that's a state park. But anyways, yeah.
You can already wheel out there.
Yeah. But I mean, can you imagine getting 82 more Prairie Cities or 82 more Hollister Hills opened up in this state?
That'd be awesome.
Right?
That's so cool.
Fucking amazing. Huge, massive win. And the first park that's getting a SVRA put into it from this change is Henry W Coe Park.
Oh, yeah. It's like Morgan Hill.
Yep. Morgan Hill area. Yep.
South San Jose.
Yep.
South of Wheeling Wine and Whiskey.
Yep. Kind of down near Hollister almost.
Oh, higher up than that.
A little higher up. Okay. Yeah. So, the first park. So, that is, they're looking and talking with that park right now. A bunch of different people are meeting up to try and figure out, how this official transition is now going to get, written into, I want to say the land management, but how do you convert a park into an SVRA space? So, that's what they're looking into right now.
Interesting.
And there's going to be that's the big reason for, CORVA having their annual meeting up here at Prairie City on April 30th. The public is going to get a chance to sit down and interface with some of the people that have been kind of directly behind opening up all the state parks this way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
bummer we can't be there.
I know, right? I'm like, I really kind of want to cancel the Moab trip to be there for that event, but I know that my wife would kill me and I wouldn't live anymore after that. So
well, maybe we need to send some delegates.
We kind of are. So Phil, who kind of runs the Pure 4x4.
Okay.
He's going out there.
Oh, good.
And Juan from Tacoma Powered and Forerunner Powered, they're going to be out there. And so I'm really, really hoping that Willing Wine and Whiskey can get out there. And maybe Lee. No, Lee's going to be with us.
Yeah.
But Willie Wine and Whiskey, I'm hoping can get out there for that as well. Because that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
The announcement of that, all the finer details of Henry Coe Park, I don't think all the fine details will be figured out by then, but they're going to have a lot more of the details figured out by then. They have a few meetings with the park manager for Henry Coe before the April 30th Corva meeting. So freaking amazing, right?
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Newsom.
Thank you, Newsom.
I never thought I'd say that.
I didn't either.
And thank you, Corva.
Yeah. Huge kudos to Corva. And so because of the work that Corva has been doing, that's why I wanted to take 2 of the rounds that we have and get some of the funds back to them.
Cool.
Just because they're being very effective at what they do. So
yeah, absolutely.
So anyways, that was really cool. The next really cool thing that happened recently was with Friends of Oceano Dunes.
Yes.
So
I saw this one.
This was fantastic. And this was a great, just like, I don't want to say a middle finger because that's not how it should be portrayed. But at the same time, after all the grief they've given us, I want it to be a bit. Yeah, exactly. So the whole thing of getting Oceano Dunes shut down has been fought between Friends of Oceano Dunes and the California Coastal Commission, right? We've gone over this a lot. But there's been a lot of input given from organizations such as the Center for Biodiversity, the Chumash Tribal Council in the area from the Chumash tribe, as a Native American tribe that kind of lives in the Oceano Dunes area. There's that new organization that we kind of talked about that one time. It's like let me just pull it up that way I'm giving the right name. So here's the 6 groups or organizations that have been trying to give their input and kind of muddy the waters with these lawsuits are the Northern Chumash Tribal Council, the Center for Biological Diversity, Oceano Beach Community Association. That's the one.
That's the one that we were talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
Who's that? The whole point of that group is to figure out how to develop Oceano, the town of Oceano, once the dunes are shut down for business and resorts and other stuff. So anyways, that group. Let's see. The Sierra Club.
Oh, my favorite people.
Assholes. Surfrider Foundation.
That one shocks me.
I know, that one shocked me too. That was surprising to me. My guess is they just don't want off-roaders out there, but I don't think they understand that if off-roaders aren't out there, then the whole place is going to get taken up by resorts and they're not going to have access to the ocean surfing.
How about the fact that we drive down the beach to find the good wave break?
Yeah. It's kind of, I think they're thinking of like they're going to shut down the dunes and not the beach. I'm like, no, I don't think you guys are understanding where this works. And then the last one is the San Luis Obispo Coast Keeper. I've never heard of them before. I don't know what they do. It sounds like they do something similar to the California Coastal Commission, just specific to San Luis
Obispo County.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, these 6 groups have been trying to give their reasons why they want everything shut down as well. But they've been doing it in such a way that they've been like trying to introduce add-ons to this legislation, to this litigation that's going on between Friends of Oceano Dunes and the California Coastal Commission. And what it's really been doing is it keeps tying the litigation up due to paperwork. And it's not allowing litigation to move forward. And so Friends of Oceano Dunes, Jim Sudi, put in a an intervener, I guess is what it's technically called, that says none of those 6 organizations, and not only none of them, those specifically, but anybody outside of that 6 is not allowed to give any more input legally to the litigation going on between Friends of Oceana Dunes and California Coastal Commission.
All right. So more or less it says the line is drawn here and we can't do anything else. You can't add anything else to this.
Nothing else can be added. If anything else wants to be added, California Coastal Commission or Friends of Oceana Dunes has to bring it into this legal structure. Nobody else is allowed to bring it in anymore.
Got it.
And so it was kind of nice that the exact words of the court are, Friends contends that since the group's interests are adequately represented by California Coastal Commission, there is no justification for unsettling the right of the existing parties to litigate these consolidated cases on their own terms. Essentially, that means that California Coastal Commission and Friends of Oceana Dunes has the explicit right to fight each other. And nobody else has any right to intervene now. Moreover, Friends points out that the additional briefing will enlarge an already voluminous act, which is absolutely true. The order continued. The court finds that allowing the groups to intervene would not promote fairness, and that any reasons for intervening are outweighed by the rights of the original parties to conduct their lawsuit on their own terms.
Okay.
So it's essentially recognizing that the tricks that environmentalists use to tie up litigation so that the off-roading organizations run out of funds and can't fight the litigations anymore, the court has just blocked all those tricks.
Yep.
So
said pretty much nobody else is allowed to enter into this game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is a fight between these two entities. Nobody else is allowed to give input. And that's what they're leaving it at.
Yeah.
So huge win, in my opinion. It's going to mean that the timelines for things stay on their original timelines. It means that nobody else can throw in stupid things like PM10 particles are high, even though the particles that are high in volume are non-lethal or non-harmful to humans. Throwing in shit like that is not going to be entered into the lawsuits anymore, hopefully.
That's awesome.
Yes. So, super cool. Huge shout out to Jim Sudi and Friends of Oceana Dunes for that. And let's see, there was one more. I did want to piggyback on the CORVA thing. So with the governor's office paying attention to how many people are getting into off-road recreation right now, or have been getting into off-road recreation, there's a couple of forms out with different organizations. CORVA has them. California Four-Wheel Drive Association has them. I don't know specifically if other organizations have them. I would imagine they do. But they are land use forms. And essentially what they do is they're forms that you can fill out that says how many people, how many vehicles went to what trails on what day for how long. And they use that data to then fight to tell the governor's office or to tell the U.S. Forest Service or to tell BLM how much their trails are actually getting used by the public. And that way we can start arguing to say there's more public using trails than we have trails available. It's not sustainable. We have to open more trails. And so I want to encourage everybody out there, if you go on a trip, it doesn't matter where you go, what you do. If you go on a trip on a public land in the state of California, fill out one of those forms and give the data to CORVA or Cal4 or both, so that they can then use that to get some really cool stuff passed, like what just happened with this California state parks. So check out those forms. If I remember, I'll put them in the show notes here. If I don't put them in the show notes, please reach out to me. I want to make sure that we kind of start a precedence of everybody out there filling out land use forms to prove that we need more trails open. And since the governor seems to be on board with opening more trails for us because they've realized that it's not sustainable anymore, that we can kind of push this wave a little bit further. So remind me if you don't see it in the show notes, please email me. I'll get you the link to those land use forms. And that's all I got to say about that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Super cool stuff.
Well, do we want to jump into what in the butt?
Let's see. How much more do we have? A lot of it is really what I was doing this weekend.
Yeah, well, I couldn't walk.
You couldn't really do much. Yeah, there's not a All right. Welcome back. I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but we talked a lot. Go figure.
Yeah, well, we had a lot to cover since Monday's episode was unplanned.
Yeah. Monday's episode was a little bit unplanned. We were looking to cover a bunch of the CORVA and some other kind of newsy articles on Monday. And we had a couple of drinks, which creates crystals in your joints, apparently.
Yeah. That actually loosened my joint.
I know,
up,
that was
so
weird.
I was not quite sure how that all worked out.
So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. What?
I was like, episode 249.
Is this episode 249?
Isn't that what you're labeling it?
I think so, yeah. You guys will get to hear about that in the next episode here. And yeah, we talked a lot. There's a lot going on. But welcome to Snail Trail 4x4. So if you guys have any feedback from this episode, please send it on over. We love hearing from everybody out there. You can now get in contact with us over on Irate 4x4 on at least the public forum for Snail Trail 4x4. And starting tomorrow, you'll be able to get into the private forums. I guess technically you can get in today because we have the both $5 and $10 tier open up. You just can't get in the gift box. The gift box will be open tomorrow. So if you're looking to get in on the gift box, hold off signing up until tomorrow. I
won't even make the one on Patreon open.
Yeah. So
it's going to stay closed permanently.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that people don't go and sign up for the $5 or the $10 tier today and then sign up for the $20 tier tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're looking to get in, exactly. Oh man, creating more work for us, Borja. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll have more goodies coming along tomorrow. We're splitting this episode into two because it did go on for a very long time. Jimmy and I might just have to start releasing 4 episodes a week.
Yeah, we're just going to record every day.
Every day. Jeez. Can I go hang myself now?
Yes.
To get out of this one?
I thought about doing a daily vlog YouTube channel once.
How'd that go for you?
Yeah, it was a very short thought.
Perfect. Nice. All right. So you guys know how to get a hold of us. We're over on Instagram. We're over on Irate 4x4. We're over on email. You can give us a call. The phone number there is 916-345-4744. And we'll have another episode coming into your holes bright and early tomorrow morning. Hopefully you guys enjoy. And with that, Jimothy Jet, do you have any final words for everybody?
Thanks, CORVA.
And for that, my friends, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
You do?
I do.
I'm excited.
Do you know how to tell the difference between a boy ant and a girl ant?
Look at their birth certificates.
You drop an ant into a bucket of water, and if it's floating, it's a boy ant.
Okay, got it. That was actually pretty. I like that one. That had nothing to do at all with anything that you were talking about.